YouTube. This is The Working Investor. Today we're going to talk about some tricks how to find money where money doesn't exist. And also we're going to talk about this interesting concept called mortgage phantom shrinking, a term that I invented, but it's a concept that's been out there for a while. It's very interesting to see how your mortgage is actually shrinking every single month, and we'll talk about that in a moment. First of all, we'll talk about we not everybody's born into a very wealthy family. A lot of us have humble beginnings, and initially the only money we have to invest is our money from our earned income from work. And we're using our blood money that we're sacrificing our life for to purchase and take care of our essentials and maybe more. And eventually the point would be like, don't eat the golden goose, eat the eggs that it lays. And basically you just want to live off the derivatives of your money. So, but first you have to live off your money. So the question is, in addition to what, obviously trying to be debt free or minimizing burdens of unnecessary expenses initially, and try to save up as much as you can to invest to make the money work for you, there are other ways which I found to help boost contributions to the stock market. So what I would play this game with myself where if I were to save money somewhere, doing something that I actually enjoy, obviously not doing things that I don't enjoy. If I don't enjoy it, obviously you want to pay it. You're still wasting your time. It's opportunity cost. But if it's something you enjoy doing yourself, then do it. So one of the things I like doing, and I found saving me a lot of money, is I love working with my hands and doing my own landscaping. I called up a landscaper to see how much it would cost, and I was quoted $25 a month, about half a year you'll need to have landscaping. And then they also wanted another whopping $400 fee for the first time, and this is for a small little yard. So I decided to buy my own equipment and do my own landscaping, and I take the difference of what I spent on the equipment and I just contribute that extra to the stock market. I pretend as if I have that expense and I just pay myself. Another thing was, I don't do it anymore, but for about a couple of years I had these, I was between barbers, and when you have a good barber, they do a great job, they know your hair. And then you go to a new barber and they just butcher it. So I got so fed up. And where I lived, I only had like super cuts or stupid cuts in the area. And they just, I every time I came in there, I would just hold my breath and pray. And I would, even no matter how much I would explain to them how I want my haircut done, I would come out and looking like I wouldn't recognize myself in the mirror. And I would cringe for the next 2 weeks until my hair starts growing back a little bit. So I was so fed up, I decided to buy my own, machine for like $40-$60. I used a couple mirrors, watched some YouTube videos. And for a couple of years, I actually cut my own hair and I saved myself money. And every single time I saved myself money, and I enjoyed doing it. And I had a hairstyle that I kind of liked. I put that money towards investing. So I kind of squeezed out more money where money didn't exist. Another thing is, I like to cook healthy foods, and I feel like health is wealth. And a lot of times people who are wealthy actually are very unhealthy because, money could be something that amplifies who you are. And if somebody eats crap, then if they are very wealthy, they can afford lots and lots of, crap to eat, and just more expensive crap, and they're just damaging their body. If you give a drug addict or a nicotine dependent person infinite amount of money, you basically or an alcoholic, you basically kill them because they're just going to overdose and die, or just beat themselves down to the ground. So I like to eat healthy, and I enjoy cooking my own food and staying fit, because what's the point of money if you don't enjoy your life and you don't enjoy your health? So I decided recently, the past year or so, actually since COVID, I've actually cut down on eating out, and I cook my own food, and I find it very time efficient too, and much healthier. Still eat out occasionally, but I definitely save myself about depending on how much you spend on when you go eat out. But we save about $100 a week, and I could contribute that to my investment and now I can have a free meal every single week if I wanted. And then another thing is pack a lunch. You have so many people living paycheck to paycheck, and they're like poor as heck. but then they don't even pack themselves a freaking sandwich. Like there's a YouTuber out there called Financial Audit, and he always says, "Pack a sandwich, man." And he's right. People are broke AF and maxed out on credit cards. A firm for using a firm for basic groceries, like pay, buy now, pay later, but they don't even pack themselves a darn sandwich, and they're just spending 10, 15 bucks every single day going out to eat. You can, the point is pack a sandwich, pack a lunch. I save so much money, and the food is way more nutritious by packing, and you could learn ways how to do it really efficiently. So it's healthy and wealthy, and you could go ahead and contribute the difference if you want to boost your returns. Another thing is I actually enjoy sewing. My grandmother taught me how to sew when I was younger, and it was a lot of fun. It was really, really a lot of fun. And basically I had these really good, a bunch of clothes, and they were in good shape. They just had I walk a lot, and they got torn by the crotch area. So it's kind of funny. Had to make sure I have clean thoughts all the time, because there's a whole, nah, just kidding, guys. The point is that, I was about to buy some new pants, and I'm like, you know what? I enjoy sewing. And if it's something you enjoy and have fun, I find it very therapeutic and calming and relaxing. Why not? People actually spend money to go crocheting, so why not do it in a way that actually saves you money too? And it's a win-win. And now I just sew up. I could sew buttons and sew tears and whatnot. So I save, I use the proceeds of the money that I saved and just put in the stock market and put it where I need to go. And also minimize your commute. If you can possibly do one day a week, less to go to work, that could save you time, because you don't get time. You get some burn. Just like when you invest in margin or invest in other, the cost of doing business, when you close on a house or whatnot, when you go to work, you're burning money because you're having wear and tear on your vehicle. You're paying gas, tolls, if applicable, and you're losing precious time in your commute. Though some people like the somewhat of a commute because they could decompress or listen to a podcast and have a school, like a college on the go, to listen to some interesting stuff. But for the most part, if you could eliminate one day a week or so, that saves you precious time and burn that you could do other stuff. And it actually you actually get more bang for your buck. You actually get to keep more of your paychecks. So if somebody could just work 4 10-hour days instead of 5 8-hour days, or just try to see if they could do one day commute, that actually saves you a lot. Another thing is, a lot of people don't know, for the homeowners out there, there's something called the homestead exemption. So if you live in the property and that's your primary property, it's not an investment property, and you're paying local taxes, I'm not sure if it applies to like the school tax or the city tax, or it's very, very hyper local, these laws, and the exemption is very variable, and if applicable at all. But find out if you're a homeowner, if you can get a homestead exemption and reduce your property taxes a little bit, if at all. Something worth to look into. Another thing important is those who are working paycheck to paycheck and just feel like they're just paying their bills, and if they're fortunate enough to have a mortgage, there's something called I call this mortgage phantom shrinking. So when you have a mortgage, let's say, I don't know, let's just put a guess out there, $3,000 a month or $2,500 a month, month after month after month. And even though you're paying down the principal and everything, little by little, but people think like, oh my God, I'm just spinning my wheels if you're just paying, you're just making the payments. But the thing is that there is something called inflation, and the loan you take, if you took a loan out, let's say in the year 2000, you all would agree that between the year 2000 and 2024, there's been a ton of inflation, and money then, so if you let's say lock in, let's say $500,000 mortgage today, $500,000 seems like a lot of money today, or depending on who you are and what socioeconomic class you're in. But I guarantee you $500,000 in about 10 years from now, 15 years from now, we'll see much, much less, even though wages don't rise up as quick as inflation, but they will eventually rise up. and your mortgage will seem like, the hundred, so if someone took out, let's say, a $50,000 mortgage 20 something years ago, it seems like nothing today. And, so inflation is, whenever you do a mortgage, you kind of lock in, if you freeze time, the amount of money that you borrowed, you kind of froze it in today's date. And then whatever inflation happens, inflation is your friend when you locked in the money, and you locked it into today's date. So if there's like a 10% inflation next year, and let's say the salary goes up by like 5%, it barely keeps up with inflation. Relative still, your loan seems smaller relative to your salary, eventually, hopefully catching up. And also, if the cost of living goes up, then at least you're locked into a lower rate. But I call it mortgage phantom shrinking. That's not something you could contribute today, but if somebody is living paycheck to paycheck and they're basically just spinning their wheels, just have in mind, just keep have faith. It's going to eventually, there will be a delta where the income will supersede the expenses if you just hold the fort down and try your best. At least in one aspect, which is the housing cost, which is the largest cost. So these are some tips and tricks to squeeze out more of your blood money that you have to pay money for, in order to put that from the blood money into investment money to make the money work for you. I hope you all are doing well. Best of luck. This is the Working Investor, over and out.